Good morning. Today I'll be doing an installation of Debian Trixie. Now, I'm recording this one day before the official release, but the current release candidate is likely going to be the final. So we'll just use that. I've downloaded that from Debian's webpage. You can get it right here. Although by the time this video goes out, it'll probably be the default, and you'll be able to get it right here instead. So let's get started with a new virtual machine here. I'm just gonna go with... Well, first I need to pick my image. Debian Trixie. I'm gonna increase the amount of RAM available to this VM. Let's do 8192. And double the amount of cores. I should probably give it a little bit more space as well. How about 64 gigs? And we'll just call it Debian 13 YouTube. And there we go. So what I like to do when installing Debian is, instead of going for the graphical install, I prefer the old school look of the old installer. It reminds me of my youth. So we're gonna pick our location here. I'm in Norway. I'm still gonna use a US locale though. But I want a Norwegian key map. And if everything goes well, there will be no cuts in this video. You'll see every part of the process. Although there will be some awkward silences, probably, while we wait for stuff to finish. But hey, that's why we're doing it by the ocean, so you can hear the waves in the background. Trixie YouTube. We'll call the host name that. No domain name. Don't care about that. Actually, if you don't put in a root password, your user that you create automatically gets put in the sudoers file. So I'm not going to create a root password. I'd rather just have a normal user. We'll call the normal user Carcass. Both name and username. And then we'll type in our password twice. And now it's starting up the partitioner. And since we're in a VM, we might as well just use the entire disk. It is a virtual disk. We could do some kind of advanced setup here, but all files in one partition is recommended for new users, and I'm not planning to migrate this to a different distro or anything like that, so there's no need to separate the home or any of the other stuff. We'll just do all in one. And this looks fine. I believe the swap size you get might be based on the amount of RAM you have. It looks like approximately half. Actually, a little less than half of the RAM I allocated. I don't know, it might also depend on the amount of disk space you have available. We'll finish this. It looks fine to me. And write the changes. You now have the option of scanning additional media for use by the package manager. No, let's not do that. Let's go straight to the mirror. Debian archive mirror country, Norway. And we'll go with the default here, although I could go with a specific Norwegian one, I guess. No proxy. And now it's going to run task cell, I believe. Not yet. We don't want to participate in the usage survey. There we go, task cell. So these are the default options. You get a GNOME Debian desktop environment. And for this particular video, I'm going to go with that. Although normally I'd probably go with KDE or some kind of minimalist window manager. Actually, I would do a minimal install and go from there. But let's check out the default. Sorry, GNOME, not GNOME. It's very important to pronounce GNOME correctly. It's not a garden gnome. Now, GNOME is a pretty big desktop environment. I want to say it's probably a little bit smaller than KDE, but still pretty large in terms of package count and disk space. I could be wrong, though. It could be the opposite. I'm not sure. They're both pretty big. Now, I used to use XFCE a lot, but since most distros are transitioning to Wayland now, and XFCE does not have a Wayland session yet, not a functional one anyway, I've since started using KDE mostly for my DE. On my main computer. But let's give GNOME a try, rather. In this particular install. Alright, it's almost done getting the packages. We'll probably have to do an update afterward. No, wait. We're installing from the net installer. We shouldn't have to do an update. Grub bootloader. Yes, put it on the primary drive. Please choose continue to reboot. There we go, it's installed. Now we get to boot into our new system. And it should just launch straight into GNOME. Yep. I don't want to take the tour. Let's adjust the display settings, because this VM defaults to some ridiculously low setting. I'm going to go with 1080p for this. Another thing that I like to change immediately upon getting into a DE is select the dark theme, so I don't get flashbanged. And I like the Debian logo as a wallpaper as well. Now, if I was on bare metal, I'd probably want to adjust the mouse settings. But since I'm not on bare metal, since I'm in a VM, I'm using the mouse from my host system, so this doesn't count. It doesn't do anything. It's basically like a tablet when you're using a VM, but I would turn off mouse acceleration every single time. You never want to have this on unless you're a psychopath. I don't know why this is on by default in both Windows and apparently in GNOME and KDE as well. Someone needs to fix that. It is the worst mouse experience. Anyway, let's move on. I think we want to install Flatpak, or Flathub, rather. No, we want to install Flatpak and set up Flathub. That's what I want to do. So let's get into a terminal. And do we have fast fetch? We do not. So let's update sudo apt update and then sudo apt upgrade just to see if we're up to date here. We are not up, or we are up to date rather. So let's sudo apt install fast fetch htop flatpak flat seal. What was the other one? GNOME. It's such a long name. GNOME something. Boop, boop. GNOME desktop. No. What is it called? I'll find it afterward. I will maximize this, or make it taller rather. Apt search Flatpak. Where is the GNOME thing? GNOME software plugin Flatpak. That's the one I want. Okay. So we'll install that as well. GNOME software plugin Flatpak. There we go. And now let's just Google it. How to enable Flathub on Debian. That should give us the right thing. Debian Flathub setup. I can never memorize this this command, but I just do this every time. I just Google it and get it directly from Flathub. So we'll copy that in. It needs our password. That's fine. And now we should be able to use the Software Center to install applications directly from Flathub, which is amazing for Debian. That eliminates the problem of always having out-of-date software. So we could do Firefox, or we need to restart it to enable the Flathub. In the meantime, fast fetch. There we go, we're on Debian Trixie. And htop. I want to see just how much of my system is being used here. We have Firefox open. Let's close that. So without Firefox, we're just above 1 gig of memory on the desktop. That's not too bloated. It's alright. GNOME is actually not that much of a memory hog after all. You can get this as low as like 300 megs maybe with a super minimal Xorg window manager, I think. I haven't tested any of the Wayland ones. Anyway, let's install an actual Firefox, because Debian actually ships with the extended release. No, what's it called? Extended support version? How old is that? 128.13. So that's pretty ancient. We're not going to use that. We'll search for Firefox, and now we have more options because we enabled Flatpak. Among them is Florp. I guess there's LibreWolf as well, right? Yeah. So I'd go with either LibreWolf if you're into privacy, or Florp if you're into a customizable browser. And you can see Flathub is where we're getting this from now. And this is great, because it lets you get up-to-date versions of software with a stable base system. Basically, as long as your hardware is old enough that you don't require the latest kernel, Debian is definitely the way to go for stability. I would run this on all my old computers, basically. But sadly, I think even with the new Trixie release, the kernel and Mesa version are still too old to run the latest generation of graphics cards. There are ways around this, like you can still get a later kernel or later versions of Mesa on Debian, but you do sacrifice the whole point of Debian, the stability, by doing that, and it turns into some kind of Frankenstein's monster distro. I'd rather just use Arch at that point, just to get the latest stuff. So let's Florp. Oh, we might have to restart or log out to get the Flathub stuff in our desktop. Let's do that. Let's do a quick restart. It is really fast after all. Florp, there you are. Skip and start browsing. Now this is a Japanese project based on Firefox. And I haven't used it much, but I've seen it recommended by a bunch of people. So it's the main two options if you want a Firefox fork that isn't Mozilla are Florp and LibreWolf. Those are the main ones. I've used LibreWolf extensively, but you need to change some settings if you want to use it as your daily driver browser, because it is obnoxiously private. Like you don't even stay logged into websites if you use the default settings on LibreWolf. You probably want to change that if you're using it as a daily driver. Florp, on the other hand, seems pretty reasonable by default. But yeah, that's Debian Trixie. After setting up Flathub, you can pretty much do whatever you want, and you'll have a rock-solid base. There's so much software you can get here on in the Flathub repositories. You can get the latest version of OBS if you want to stream or record videos. You can get GIMP, also from the official package. You can get Kdenlive, I guess, probably. I don't know if Kdenlive looks and feels good in GNOME, because it's a KDE app. I've never tested that. It'll probably work just fine. Oh, and best of all, there's Space Cadet Pinball. The old Windows 95 game. I don't know why this is on Linux on Flathub, but I love it. I adore that this exists. Apparently it's under an MIT license. Let's check it out on Florp. Reverse engineering of 3D pinball for Windows, Space Cadet. A game bundled with Windows. So they basically just reverse engineered the entire game. That is so cool. What was done? All structures were populated. Globals and locals named. So they took the pinball.exe. They used some tools. Decompiled it. Interesting. This is a little bit above my head, but I love this kind of stuff. I love that it exists. Let me show you this game, actually, if you haven't seen it already. It is incredible. But it sure is loud. Let's turn down the volume. Now, it might not run great in my VM because we don't have hardware acceleration controls. Left flipper Z? Mouse left, right. Mouse left or mouse right. Okay. I don't get these defaults. Let's do left keyboard, right keyboard. Plunger can be down. That's all we need, really. I don't use the tilt functions at all in this game. Resume? Yeah. What a great game. Alright. I'm not going to keep playing it, but I totally did play a session of this game the last time I installed it. But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. This has been a quick Debian Trixie install with no cuts in the video, actually. Took me about 20 minutes to get to this point, and now the operating system is ready to use. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like on it. Really helps me out. Have a good rest of your day.